His Excellency Mr. Jason Keats Matthew Hall, High Commissioner, Jamaica.
We are globally recognized as being ranked 6th globally in terms of starting a business. I believe you can start a business in Jamaica now in less than 48 hours, which is quite impressive. But more importantly, we see other gains being made, particularly in public partnerships. Jamaica is ranked as being number 4 in the Caribbean and Latin America. And of course, a very interesting little known fact is the prowess of the Jamaican Stock Exchange, which was actually rated by Bloomberg as the #1 stock exchange in the world in 2015 and 2018, boasting a stock rally of 246%. I think number 2 was Vietnam at 76%. So this is testament to the type of environment that we're in, the type of business acumen that we possess, and where we're headed as a people. So in terms of the key strategic sectors for investment, we are focused in agribusiness, energy, creative industries, infrastructure, logistics, manufacturing, outsourcing, which of course BPO, and we're the leading BPO destination in the Caribbean, and tourism, which is where we see such great commonalities with Nagaland. We have so much in common in that regard. But I will say that I have to contest that claim about the world's hottest pepper. I think we're going to have a pepper Olympics, and we're going to invite your pepper to come, because I do believe that that title is not held here. But like here, we have tremendous agricultural produce. There's something Darwinian when you put products on an island and they're left to grow and develop on their own. When you go to Jamaica, everything tastes different. And of course, we have some of the world's finest coffee, and I see through the corner of my eye my colleague from Panama, with whom I have a regular debate about who has the best coffee. I'm going to leave it to you to decide. You'll have to taste it. But here in Nagaland, you actually have tremendous potential with your coffee. So this brings me to talk about some of the areas of collaboration and cooperation that we could explore between Jamaica and Nagaland. Of course, Jamaica and India have a long-standing relationship spanning over 60 years of uninterrupted diplomatic relations. And interestingly, the Indian High Commissioner to Jamaica is from Nagaland. So of all the people here, all of my colleagues, I think we're the closest to Nagaland because we have that connection. So the areas of collaboration and cooperation that I would identify center primarily on tourism. Jamaica, as a mature tourism destination, has a tremendous amount of experience in promotion, in travel trade engagement, in branding development and placement. And so these are areas that we feel that we could lend some assistance to Nagaland in crafting a value proposition to diverse your tourism mix and to better engage the travel world. There are also areas of economic impact assessment. I hear a lot of talk about festivals. It's always good to apply an economic model to gauge the social and economic impact of an event. And so in this regard, we have fashioned some economic models that we use to determine the viability of an event, how much economic impact it's going to have, what is going to be the cost of the event to the economy and to the stakeholders, and finally, of course, you know, which areas we should be pushing. There's also the matter of resilience, and this is an area where India is particularly strong, so much so that it is leading the globe on that front. And in Jamaica, we have fashioned the Center for Tourism Resilience. And this is an area, tourism is one of the fastest growing industries in the world, but it's also the most vulnerable. And this you'll find is something that we all need to work together to build resilience against potential shocks that we face. There are also areas of sport tourism and diversified. Nagaland, I find, to be particularly amenable to staging high-intensity sporting events, things like Ironman races, mega events that bring people from all over the world and give you the type of exposure that you need to grow as a tourism destination. And this is something we have a lot of experience in. I, in fact, have the honor of having written Jamaica's sport tourism policy. So this is something we're very strong in. Thank you. There's also the matter of tourism linkages. Tourism in general is a very diverse industry with multiple stakeholders, but there are often leakages of your revenue. And so it is how you develop and create the linkage opportunities. So tourism directly links with agriculture because the agricultural outputs are used in the tourism industry. So what we have done is we fashioned a way to enhance those linkage mechanisms so as to reduce the amount of leakage of tourism revenue. I mentioned your potential in coffee, and agriculture is an area where we certainly could collaborate, especially in terms of establishing a global coffee brand. We feel that you have a strong product, you have the environment for it, but what are you doing to place that product on the global stage? How are you going about marketing that? How are you going about that presentation? That's an area where we could collaborate very closely. And of course, you have the matter of nutraceuticals, functional foods, and agricultural produce. When you have an environment like this, you often tend to find that you have foods of high nutritional value, and these can be cultivated in a manner and promoted so that the world knows about the nutritional value of your produce. Another area of collaboration would be sports development. Currently, right now, we have a young lady from India who is training to be a sprinter. Her name evades me, but I guarantee you that you're gonna know about her at the next Olympics. Interestingly, Jamaica has won over a third of the total medals to be won in the Olympics. The only other country to have won more than us is the USA, and they outnumber us by a factor of 100. One of the reasons for this, our success, apart from our attitude and the way we train and our outlook to life, is our topography. And you have that topography here. So all these children I see walking to school in the mornings, climbing these hills, they are creating the necessary building blocks to become the future world champions. And so we offer that service to get you faster, to get you up on the medal podium. There's also education and academic exchange, and these are areas which I feel are always valuable, and certainly one thing COVID has done for us is enabled us. It may have separated us physically, but it has brought us closer together digitally. So there's scope for far greater and deeper collaboration academically between institutions, and this is an area where we could cover all of the previous areas on a virtual basis and a sustained basis. And finally, I mentioned earlier at a previous engagement in Sikkim, the whole matter of G2G and B2B, but of course what drives me most is H to H, and that is heart to heart. So being here in person, engaging with people, meeting people, these are the types of exchanges that are meaningful and lasting. And in that regard, cultural exchanges. The cultural expose that was on show last night was nothing short of incredible. It is truly admirable. And I couldn't help but feel that it could have, I can't wait to see the collaboration between that and some reggae music so that we can really rock the planet in true fashion. So I look forward. Thank you.
May I invite Mr. Manfred Oster, Consul General, Germany, to come up on stage.
The Honorable Chief Minister yesterday reminded us of the proud history and the geographical spread of Nagas. And that is something that fascinates me all the time. It is my second visit, and I'm really happy to be back in Nagaland. I first came here in December 2021 on the occasion of the Hornbill Festival, and I would like to really recommend that festival to all of my colleagues and all visitors from abroad in December. It is really mind-boggling. We will get a little taste of that probably this afternoon. But in 2021, unfortunately, that festival was cut short. It found a tragic ending with the killing of 14 civilians in Moon Province by the blotched action of special forces. I think that the fact that the government of India is inviting us to Nagaland, despite of some ongoing demands from civil society that we could have read about today in the papers, is a sign of the maturity of the Indian democracy. And it is really good that we are here and that we are reading and learning from the Nagas about the situation here and about the ongoing negotiations and about the will on all sides to find solutions for that. For us as Germany, it is clear that the rule of law has to prevail and that it is a very good basis for solving conflicts, probably the only basis for coming to lasting solutions. And that is the case everywhere, domestically, but also in international relations. In international relations, also in the ongoing Russian war of aggression against Ukraine, and that has to be resolved according to and in full respect of international law, including the UN Charter. I think our leaders have said it very well in the Bali Declaration. They said, today's era must not be of war. That is something that we have to reach for. The B20 outreach to the Northeast is very valuable, as I said in the beginning, to show the opportunities. And in all our endeavors, in all our cooperation, sustainability is key. Sustainability is also something that the G20 have enshrined in various declarations and in their programs. And after all, we all work for the implementation of the SDGs and the goals that the United Nations have set for 2030. We also see other crises, the climate crisis and the crisis of biodiversity. And here again, Nagaland is an example of where we see a huge biodiversity that is being protected. And we also see probably that climate change is not stopping at its borders. And then again, it shows us how this is all interlinked and how we have to work together for that. When it comes closer to the businesses that we have been introduced to today, I think what I take along is that in the sustainability elements we have seen, we have talked about in the tourism sector, in the textile sector, we have also one of the sponsors, Ecolastics, sorry, Eurocentric approach here, I guess. The Ecolastics as one of the sustainability partners, which are producing solutions that we can use in everyday life, and it is something that I also take along as a very important element for the future. I'm not going to go through all the elements that we have heard. We don't have the time for that. I'm simply saying it was a very enlightening one. I'm taking it back, and I'm sure that also my colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps are going to report back about the business opportunities here, and that we are trying to come forward with propositions, and that there will be a possibility of the B2B and also the G2B meetings.